Greetings, this is Scott, the Cowboy Counselor, out here in the shop today and planning on continuing on a project that I started last fall. So it's a horse sculpture that I started putting together, and my idea is what I want to do. I ran this piece of steel up through the body, brazed it on in there. I want to drill a hole into this antler, so make the antler the stand, and the horse will actually be running downhill in kind of that classic running downhill with its head down, nose out fashion. I don't know what that's going to come out looking like. The last horse sculpture I did, I actually filled in solid. This one's a little bit more in relief, so I don't know how that's going to look. So we'll get going on that. It's actually cold today. It has not been cold, so I've got my wood burning stove going here. Yeah, it looks like the fire's burning now. So we'll get started on this, and I'll try to film as I go. Okay, so I'm about ready to start cutting some more copper to add to the sculpture, so I need to heat some. So heating copper actually takes the hardness out of it and it anneals it. And I don't want to throw this whole big chunk that I have into my forge into it, so I'm just going to do one section at a time. So I'm just going to use my torch. Whoops. Use my torch so I can keep it lit. Maybe. This stuff conducts heat pretty quickly, so it should take the starch out of it here pretty quick. Okay, so I ended up throwing that piece into the forge anyways because I didn't feel like the torch heated it as much as what I like. I need it nice and malleable, so not only can I cut it, but I can also hammer it out. And you can see the rest of that sheet is all sticking in my propane forge back there in the background for the same reason. So I better go pull that out before it melts a hole in it. Okay, so I did some of this work on my dapping block on the stump over there, but I'm going to round this neck on the horn of my anvil just to have some consistency. And I'm thinking about leaving this pointed section on the end for almost like a headpiece. We'll see how that works out. Most of these I just kind of make them up as I go. So I'm just kind of forming with my hands. You do have to be careful of this stuff. They get some sharp burrs on them. They will slice you, although not as bad as working with sheet metal. This is just copper, but it'll still cut you. All right, we're kind of getting some shape to that. Okay, I think I've got a neck piece here I can live with. Try to stick that on with the torch. I think I'm running low on gas. I'm probably not going to get too much more done today than this. Let's get that tacked on there. I have my glasses on, but I think my piece just slipped. Yeah, I've got my neck piece brazed on now, and I might take a little bit of a break and then I kind of want the head coming down and then maybe turn to the outside with the mouth open. So I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna do that. Then obviously I need a mane, a tail, all the rest of the accoutrements that a real horse would have. This is our new dog, Maisie, and Maisie spends all of her time out here in front of the heater. I don't want anybody to think that she's suffering. It's probably like 75, 80 degrees in front of that, but she thinks she's shivering to death. Okay, now I've raised a head section on. So it's looking proportionate enough right now. I think when I add other things on, it'll start coming together. Okay, got a couple of ears on, pretty happy with those. For some reason I envision this being a mare. It's a mare running with her ears back. and maybe her head turned a little bit to one side, so I'm trying to capture that. I just want to point out that no dogs were harmed in making this video, even though she probably feels like she's harmed. She's been kind of an indoor dog so far. So she's basically pestering me to go back to the house now. Okay, it's warmed up a little bit. A couple of days later, I did quite a bit of work on this thing without filming just because I needed to focus on what I was doing and kind of fighting the cold a little bit too. It was pretty steamy and cold last time I was out here, so let's take a look at this thing. This is what we've progressed on to now. We've got kind of the forelock on, the head, the ears, got the tail on, got the pieces cut, and those can be bent around and adjusted as we go. I'm kind of taking a look at the body, seeing if this is exactly what I was shooting for, and it's not too bad. I think I'm gonna add the mane now, so I need to cut a piece that'll fit from here to about back here that I can braze on and then cut that. Okay, I cut a piece for the mane, and I'm just kind of, I'll braze it on and then I'll cut it into strips. So I'm just kind of shaping it by eye right now so it'll fit around the withers of this horse. And I think that might not be too shabby right there. I think that'll do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flang it on the bottom with a pair of pliers so I'll have something to braze to. Liking the way the mane came out for the most part. One of the hardest things to do on some of these sculptures is actually give them form and function, that it, even though it's made out of scrap metal, scrap copper, that it actually has some real life type flow to it. This is supposed to be a horse running downhill. It's going to be mounted probably on an antler mount, so I'll drill a hole in the antler and then run that steel into it. But it needs to have that appearance of that it's actually doing something and not just a silhouette cutout. I may go ahead and post this video and make this kind of a part one, just so this doesn't end up being too long, especially by the time I end up getting it epoxied and cleaned up and everything else. So that might be it for this time around, and I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Cowboy Counselor. And I have no words of wisdom today other than enjoy your life, do what you want. God bless.